Did you know that the first home video games console, the Magnavox Odyssey, was released in 1972 and had just 2 games? Fast forward to 2024 and gaming technology has evolved to the point where we can now experience virtual reality worlds that feel almost real. The evolution of gaming technology is often overlooked, but it has had a profound impact on the technological landscape of today. From the dream of interactive entertainment to the multi-billion-dollar industry it is today, gaming has come a long way. It's not just about games, it's about the innovation, creativity, and the community that has driven the industry forward. And in this video, we're going to take you through a journey of the evolution of gaming technology from 1972 to 2024. In the early days of gaming, computer scientists and engineers were experimenting with the concept of interactive entertainment. The birth of arcade games marked a significant turning point in the evolution of gaming technology. Games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man captivated audiences worldwide, and the idea of coin-operated machines sparked a new era of innovation. Not only did you have to pay for each life, they also featured a leaderboard that gave you bragging rights for a high score. The controls were typically a few buttons and a joystick, and it allowed players to stand in front of the machine to play it. But the first home console emerged in 1972, with the Magnavox Odyssey being the first commercial home video game console. Although it was limited in terms of functionality, it paved the way for future consoles that would revolutionize the gaming industry. It came with 2 controllers, and these controllers were simple. Each controller had 3 knobs, one on the right side of the controller for vertical position, and 2 on the left side, one of them for horizontal position and one for curve or spin. It also had a reset button on top, and there was an option for a light rifle peripheral for shooting games. In 1977, the Atari 2600 released, and it popularized microprocessor-based hardware and also games stored on a cartridge that slotted into the top of the console. The controllers available were a joystick with a single button and a paddle controller with a turning wheel and a button on the side. I actually remember using this controller for Pong. I'm sure there were other uses for it, but I never used them myself. Moving into the 1980s, home computers like the Commodore 64 and the Amiga 500 became popular. This allowed gamers to experience more complex games with better graphics and sound. This was also when the move to floppy disks happened, with games like Beneath a Still Sky, releasing in 1994, having 15 disks that you had to change when moving to a new area. It was an absolute nightmare, especially when you had to travel from one place to another one and back again. It involved you changing discs 2 or 3 times to do that, but it was a great game. The Amiga 500 had a keyboard with a disk drive built in and a standard 2-button trackball mouse. Moving on to Nintendo's release of the Entertainment System, or NES, in 1985, was a console that revitalized the gaming industry, which had experienced a slump in the early 1980s. The NES introduced iconic characters like Mario and Zelda, as well as a new controller style that used a directional pad and 4 buttons. It had a select button and a start button and 2 face buttons for playing games. This controller became the standard for quite some time, with other consoles like the Sega Genesis utilizing the same design but with 3 face buttons instead. Speaking of Sega Genesis, Sega also created an accessory that allowed you to use CDs, called Sega CD, though it was never really mainstream until the 1990s. And in the 1990s, we saw the rise of 3D gaming, with consoles like Sega Saturn, N64 and Sony PlayStation. This marked a significant shift towards a more immersive and interactive gaming experience, as well as the mainstream use of CD-ROMs to play games on CDs. That is of course excluding the N64 that opted to stay with cartridges. And if you know Nintendo today, you'll see they've gone back to cartridge-style things by sticking with SD cards. And at this time we see another iteration of the controller, with the Sega Saturn opting for a 6 face button configuration, left and right bumper buttons, a home and select and start button, while the N64 controller introduced new innovations like the analog stick, which only had 1 at the time, and a rear trigger alongside separate D-pad, 6 face buttons and 2 bumpers. It also had the ability to connect a rumble pack to the back of the controller or a memory pack by using the underside accessory slot. Meanwhile, the PlayStation changed the standard completely by creating a smaller, slimmer design to other controllers, and not only did it include 4 face buttons that didn't use letters but instead shapes, it had 4 bumper buttons. The PlayStation also would use a memory card that plugged into the console itself, and later in this decade the first DualShock controller was released. And this was the first time a controller had 2 analog sticks. It also had 2 larger trigger-like buttons and a built-in rumble feature. And if you know gaming today, you'll know that this became the standard from that moment forward, with later controllers featuring 4 face buttons, 2 analog sticks, 2 bumpers and 2 triggers. And if you're enjoying this video, now would be a great time to give us a like and hit that subscribe button. Moving on to the late 1990s and the early 2000s, we see the emergence of online gaming. With the introduction of services like GameSpy and later on Xbox Live, this actually enabled gamers to connect with each other worldwide, creating a sense of community that was unprecedented at the time. But the late 2000s was when the gaming industry experienced a surge in innovation, with Microsoft releasing the Xbox in 2001 and standardizing internal storage. Then there was the introduction of RF wireless controllers. The Wavebird wireless controller was an RF wireless controller manufactured by Nintendo for the GameCube in 2002. And later they released motion controllers with the release of the Nintendo Wii in 2006. Moving across to the 2010s, we see the rise of things like the Kinect, which was a sensor that allowed you to use your body as a controller, and then in 2012, we saw the rise of modern virtual reality headsets and augmented reality. This enabled gamers to experience immersive worlds in ways that were previously unimaginable. And when it comes to controllers, PlayStation stand out as the innovators of today because throughout several iterations they've added motion controls, a speaker that plays game sounds to add immersion, a built-in microphone, reactive triggers and even a touchpad, making the DualSense controller truly the most innovative and immersive controller that you can get today. Today, gaming technology has reached new heights with the introduction of cloud gaming, artificial intelligence, and cross-platform play. The industry has continued to evolve with new innovations emerging every year. Despite the incredible progress made, the gaming industry has faced numerous challenges over the years. One of the biggest hurdles was technological limitations, which restricted the complexity and scope of games. But the industry has responded to those technological limitations by pushing the boundaries of what is possible, by introducing new controllers, storage mediums and graphical advancements to give us exactly what we have today. And in terms of the market competition, the industry has shifted towards more collaborative approaches, with the console manufacturers and game developers working together to create better experiences for gamers. And the evolution of gaming technology has also had a profound impact on society, transforming entertainment and communication in ways that were previously unimaginable. On top of that, gaming has also brought people together, creating communities that transcend geographical boundaries. It has also driven innovation, inspiring new technologies and business models that have spilled over into other industries. And as we look back on the incredible journey of gaming technology, we're reminded of the power of human creativity and innovation. So, what do you think about the evolution of gaming technology? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about gaming or just want game reviews, then be sure to check out our other videos on our channel.